Welcome to RVing in New England, the nation's only forum that puts you on stage with some of the biggest names in the RV industry. And now your hosts, John DePietro and Bob Zagami.
Hey everybody, and welcome once again to RVing in the Northeast, not just in New England. And my name is John DePietro. His name is Bob Zagami. And
so
Bob,
when they said all the best personalities in the industry, were they talking about you and me?
Yeah, exactly. So Bob, before we go any further, let's give our audience our update on your situation. You are in reality back in Maine tonight for the first time since what, January?
I think we left here in September. So
Yep.
The treatments went wonderfully. They ended last Thursday and had headed out on Friday, got back up to Maine on Sunday night. So we are getting ingrained in the lovely weather. I mean, we brought the sun with us, so it's been a horrible spring up here. A lot of rain, a lot of cold. Well, you know, you were in New England, but it was just horrible for them. So, but it's coming out nice now and doing well. And I did talk to our good friend Bill Sult today. Bill, quick update on Bill. He's recovering also. He's almost ready to start physical therapy at the location. He's been doing exercises in the house, coming along pretty well, and he hopes to get out. And
we should tell people that I think August 4, 5, 6, Bill has a huge show in Boston, a comic book show. So you know what? You come to an RV show and you hang around RVs. You go to a comic book show and you hang around characters like Super Mario and all the other people. I know Bill has that coming up. It's one of his shows. He said, if you want to bring your grandkids to the show, let me know.
Yeah, anybody wants comp tickets, we can figure that out for you. You know, it's the company that bought it changed the name. Instead of, it used to be Boston Comic Con, which everybody knows, but there's different franchises, different brands of them. So this company decided to change the name to the Fan Expo. So they're fans of everything, whether it's video or computer games, you name it. But he's got a big role. He has to take care of the whole staff of people that watch out for he's hiring 275 people.
Wow.
That he needs for that event.
But you know what? They need Bill just like we need Bill. And Bill, get well, because Zagami wants to take more time off, and we need somebody to engineer the show because Lord knows these hands are not technically savvy by any means. But let's tell our audience that we have a phenomenal guest and topic tonight, which they'll be able to participate in. And you were saying something when I rudely interrupted you.
Well, a couple of, I just want to see if you checked to see who's here. And
Jim Conboy is here.
Jim Conboy is first out the gate tonight, doing the RV Groove. Tony Barthel and Pat. Great to see you guys.
Jerry Plant is South Hero. Now, I think that he is in the location where
Jason and
Apple Valley,
he is up there. He was going in after them.
And as Nicole will find out, when we have a guest that shows up late, they always apologize, and even when they're only 5 minutes late, they apologize.
And just to prove that, Don was only a couple of minutes late, but he made sure he got his apology out. See? All right.
That way we recognize him. And we want to let our audience know that Walter Swenson is RV-less for the first time in almost 30 years, but he's going to get back into the fray, I think, right after the new year. and is looking at a Class C. So if you have any knowledge of Class Cs and want to share your experience with the Class C, feel free to reach out to Walter either through the show or directly.
Yep.
Because one thing about RVers, they are very happy to share their information about their RV. They're very happy to share the information that they took months to research.
They learn the hard way. They tell us the easy way. Oh, yep. Dante's apologizing. I don't know.
Yep.
All right.
And if you know anything, about Walter Swenson, Walter will do more research than any live human being.
Evening, Frank.
Yeah. So we should tell Frank.
Let me get a couple of little local business things here. I lost my train of thought there.
Hey, Frank, if there's any points that you think Jerry Plant should be going to, he's in the place that you were last week. If you have any places that you suggest that he visit during his time up there,
he had so much food. I wonder if he left him any food behind. There was no square inch on the grill. Every time he posted a picture, there was not a square inch on the grill. But we do want to get to Nicole, so let me do a couple of quick things.
Okay.
Mark your calendars. We have changed the dates for the Boston show. It's now January 25th to 28th. That was not our decision. It was the Boston Convention Exposition Center booked a City of Boston show in there, so we had to change our date. So we took January 25th to 28th, and that is the same weekend as the Hartford show. So we'll be side by side with the Hartford show. One quick thing, I don't know if you folks noticed the announcements this week. We were talking a lot about Campers Inn and NASCAR, but Blue Compass RV has gone to the top of the scale with a full scholarship of Graham Rahal, who's part of the Bobby Rahal and David Letterman team, and they're going to be sponsoring Graham in the Indy car circuit, and the television ads that are going along with it is their first national television ad. I saw 2 of them on Fox today, so watch for the Blue Compass RV ads. With that being said, so our topic tonight.
Time out.
Yes, sir.
You know what? Nicole is of national stature.
Right.
Okay. And she probably deserves a little bit more than now saying, me or you saying, okay, here's Nicole from Lippert.
Well, besides, your introductions suck anyway. So,
right. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Anything that you've got up your sleeve that could top your meager introductions?
It's quite possible. Let me drop us down and see if I can pull some.
Thanks, Bob, for having me on the show briefly today to introduce Nicole Sult. Nicole is one of my favorite human beings. We tapped her on the shoulder about 3 years ago to start a customer experience department, something that's unheard of in most companies. Companies have customer service. Nobody's trying to tap into how to improve the customer experience by sending our teams and people out to where people are using our products and using our customers' products, the RVs, to see how their adventure and their time is going. So Nicole's done a great job. She's put some really creative programs together. I'm excited for her to share all the things that we're doing with our nearly 20 people in customer experience to help RVers have a better experience out in their adventure. So with no further ado, here is Nicole.
This is Nicole. We wanted to do something different. Now, how cool is that you can just call it?
Nicole, did you know that was coming?
I had no idea. So now I'm blushing and so proud.
And Nicole, the fact that he knows you're on the show, the heat is on because at 8:01 tonight, Zagami will have this emailed directly to Jason.
Perfect. And he'll read it.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that kind of triggered this whole thing was, see, when you do that, DePietro, I can just put a magazine cover over you. RV Business did a whole thing on customer experience just recently, and we know
Jeff Hirsch,
we know
Toby
those people,
O'Rourke,
Jeff Hirsch, Ashley Bontrager, Toby O'Rourke, and Jason Lippert. But what's important about that is people have talked, and correct me if I'm wrong, Nicole, but people really got on the customer service bandwagon. But that was an incident-driven situation. You had to respond to that. Very few companies have figured out the customer experience. That's why we're really interested to see the scope of what you have put together, because it's total engagement with the customer at every level, from the time they buy something. If it works, fine, you fix it. If it doesn't, yes, Mr. DePietro.
Okay. Tagami, you know Jason Lippert. Nicole knows Jason Lippert. I know Jason Lippert. But there might be hundreds of people out there who have no clue who Jason Lippert is that just introduced Nicole. Why don't you tell our audience just who Jason Lippert is, and then we'll have Nicole tell us how big a player Lippert is in the marketplace.
Jason is the CEO of LCI Products, which embeds Lippert in all aspects of Lippert. He's been CEO for quite some time. Let me tell you a quick story that a lot of people don't realize. Lippert, like many companies, wasn't always at the top of the heap. And I remember when Jason first came on, and Lippert in general, their company turnover was about 110% a year. And just think about losing every employee. And he was determined, to right that ship, but to do it in a completely different manner. And the respect that I have for Jason is unbounded when you think about, not only did he turn the ship around, but he has built one of the most sought after or respected companies in certainly RV industry, but much further outside. Entrepreneurial awards, different awards, because of the culture that he built. So I'll shut up, Nicole. You take it from there.
Nicole, before you tell us what you do, what are the annual sales for Lippert? Where in what $1 billion category are they?
Oh, goodness, John, you're putting me on the spot. I would have to pull it up. I don't even want to guess right now where we're at in this.
But it's billions.
It's multiple billions.
Billions.
Multiple
billions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
So, Nicole, the show is all yours. Bob and I are going to leave for the next half hour. It's all yours.
Got it. We'll go from here. We'll tap you back in when it's time. Well, I have to give my credit to Jason where it's due. He's someone that I was originally a customer of Lippert. So I experienced Lippert in that time where, it wasn't always customer service and leadership focused, right, what we really see today. And so coming into Lippert, I was so excited to bring that experience in. And I just really appreciate the way Jason has absolutely made it a mission of always looking for that improvement, but in such a positive and helpful way, right? He's always challenging us and saying, what can we do better? How can we do this better? And that was such a huge part of really pushing us into this customer experience space. So I've been with Lippert for going on 10 years now and spent a majority of my time in customer service. But in early 2020, Jason tapped me and said, hey, we want to start customer experience. We're not really sure what that means. So we want you to go figure that out and let us know where we should be poking around and looking and really making those improvements for the industry. So that was a big place where we got started.
Let me show a little clip that kind of embodies what you just said. And I think it's a great overview of what your program.
We didn't set out with the intention to call it family or to even really use that word. So when we started Customer Experience in early 2020, we knew that there were a lot of RVers that didn't know who Lippert was, even though they were living with our products very regularly. So we knew that we wanted to connect a way to show them who Lippert is, hopefully to really drive where our product and our services went in the future. So when we started Scouts, it was purely on Facebook. And we had a few sort of ground rules up front that you had to agree to before you were able to come into the group, and it's basically keep it positive. That doesn't mean we don't want to hear about things that aren't working or are broken, right? Service opportunities. And secondly, don't be a jerk. And I think that was really critical of keeping the community positive and growing it. We didn't set out with the intention to call it family or to even really use that word. I don't think we thought that it would go there. We were definitely considering research and feedback and very product focused, right? Everything we did was around product. But when the family element started coming together, and I think Getaway is that space where they understood that they were family and maybe where that name kind of came through. It's even if we stopped doing this today, this family, I believe very firmly, would continue because they really are family. They're getting together outside of events that we might have. Some of the brand ambassador partners, they know our families. We've celebrated milestones together, whether it's 100,000 subscribers or when I got promoted to VP, one of our very first celebrations we had was with a brand ambassador family. That's family, right? That's not partnership, sponsorship, influencers. That's family.
Cool.
It's a great intro. So what do you like most about your job, Nicole?
Baseball caps.
Absolutely. Oh, wow. There's so many things I love about my job, but I think the thing that really is the standout that makes me get up every morning and check the Facebook groups and read the comments of everything is just knowing that when people share their feedback with us, we can do something about it, and we do. And I don't think everyone can say that, or all companies can really feel that ownership of making change and improvements and seeing the result. But that's something that I feel like we do really well. Do we get it right every time? No, but that's part of the fun. That's part of my favorite part, is really figuring out where can we fail and where can we make it better. Because every day it's definitely a new adventure with RVers. So
Nicole, you just said something very important. You said we can do something, but most importantly, you said, and we do. Mm-hmm. Without the and we do, it's a waste of everyone's time, isn't it?
It absolutely is. I mean, you might as well just turn on a one-way microphone, right? Yep. And let that roll in the background and go on about your day as if it wasn't happening.
Because really, communication, I don't care what product it is, communication with that customer, and usually they're not going to call you to say, everything's going great, I just wanted to let you know. I mean, They're generally got an issue to call you. And if you communicate back, even if you can't solve it immediately, at least they know that you know that they exist.
Well,
absolutely.
We had a perfect example on the show a couple of weeks ago when we had Ron Seidel and his wife on, John. This is a friend of mine from my teaching life. Yep. And he took the bucket list of a lifetime, his big truck and his big Jayco fifth wheel, and had all those Lippert components on it, and was going out to Yellowstone and on the West Coast and everything. And somewhere along the way, just around Yellowstone, one of the jacks failed, and took a couple of people in on the auto leveling system, took a couple people to help get it up and get it hooked back up on the truck. So they couldn't unhook, but he called Lippert, and Lippert they diagnosed it. They knew exactly what he wanted. They had it shipped out the next day, but there was a screw up because they couldn't find an independent rep. Lippert found him an independent rep like 4 days away and made the appointment, shipped the product to him. So he left it hitched up for those 4 days, but got there, got the unit switched. He could not say enough. And it was the embodiment of what you said. It was the total experience. And I think one of the best things about the environment that you created, and that's why I really wanted to have you on. I want people to understand what goes into that customer experience. He didn't get mad. He didn't get upset. And what bothers people? What bothers them isn't that they had the problem. It bothers them.
Nobody responded.
Trying to deal with is it wanting.
Yep.
Absolutely. Just acknowledging, right? A lot of times is listening. I mean, we talk about how do you do great customer service and how do you provide a great experience? A lot of times it starts with closing your mouth and listening to your customer, right? And then taking action on what to do. And our care center is absolutely second to none on caring for people. I mean, our motto is wherever, whenever, we make your experience better. And again, we try constantly to live up to that and apply that in, each individual person's role, whether they're on the manufacturing line, and making sure they understand who that part goes to, right? And really putting that extra love and attention and quality into their work. That's customer experience. Taking care of someone who's having an issue, that's customer experience. And so within Lippert, we try to make sure we're talking with folks to say, customer experience is everyone's responsibility, right? We all have an opportunity to make an RV owner or boat owner's experience a little bit better, a little bit smoother, and keep them camping.
Well, I think it was around the same time as you got promoted, a major decision by Lippert in general to get closer to the end customer, because most people within the industry knew Lippert because you put all those components, the doors and the windows and the steps and the awnings, but that was within the industry, and it was going out on thousands of different vehicles, hundreds of different manufacturers. And the only time the customer understood that it was a Lippert product was something happened, they look up at the name tag, and then it's a Lippert problem. But by coming forward and addressing consumers directly and letting them know that you're there, it's not that the others won't do the job, but you're taking and I don't think you can do total customer experience if you don't take total responsibility. Am I crazy with that?
No, you're exactly spot on. And there's so many of our core values and our internal qualities that absolutely center around that, because it is the thing that we think sets us apart, is that we are taking that ownership and saying, we don't get it right every time. Who does? But we really care to get there and make sure that we can do everything we can, right,
Nicole,
when the time is needed.
You checking comments, John?
Yeah, I was just going to say, when you come on, see, Bob and I think alike, even though we're 300 miles apart. When you come on a show like this, and we have a live studio audience, I mean, obviously the show is live and our comments are live. We can't control what people write. But, Bob, why don't you just go back up to Jerry Plant at 710. Okay. Again, we can't control what they write, but here's a case that you're doing the right thing.
Great. I love that.
Recently worked with a guy selling his rig. He had some issue. Now, Jerry works at a RV service center and also does RV inspections. Okay. He had some issue. And he said, I talked with Lippert, and I said, what? That's pretty cool, Bob. And then Michelle Russell probably works for you or is one of your people, but do you know Michelle?
Oh, we know Michelle. We know Michelle and love Michelle. She is one of our brand ambassadors. And quite honestly, we met her many years ago when we started Scouts, and she had that same heart for the community. And the Russell family has absolutely told us everywhere we need to step up, and has been part of helping us get to a better spot and sharing those messages. So much love to Michelle.
And our technical friend.
Well, Mark and Don Polk are on.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, I did my first story on them in 1999, Nicole, when they just opened the company.
Oh, I love that.
They had just opened the company, so we are dear friends down there.
So at 712, Walter Swenson is a disregard that.
You are a Lippert Scout, Walter? What a surprise! The guy who's our in-house engineer. Who, if something comes up on the show we can't figure out, he's on the web. He's got an answer. He'll post a site. That you could not have a better Lippert Scout. If you have not met Walter Swenson, you will want to do it. He's just got a heart of gold. And
Walter's got two more. Bob, go to 720.
Boom, 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 boom. Is that one?
Yeah, that's a great experience. And then 722.
So he's reviewed programs under the Scout program. Boy, imagine the reviews there. 22. Customers pay the bills, and eventually you run out of unhappy customers. Pay the bills, and eventually you run out of unhappy customers in business. This is a smart move. Yeah, you do say that as far as the total experience.
Yeah. And I know that Jerry is no longer at Majors. He has retired again, but I wanted Nicole to know his background.
Right. Majors RV Service Center down on Cape Cod, Nicole. They're probably one of the best service centers
In the
east
country.
of Mississippi, probably in the country. They don't sell units. They just service units. And one of the things that I love about David Major and Jeff and Jill, who are down there, during the summer, David is an RVer. They can fix anything. But during the summer, they actually leave one of their service bays open with no assignments because RVers go to Cape Cod. And when something happens and breaks down, and you know it's like in our industry today, and you call up and say, I got a problem, and they say, yeah, we'll see you in 90 days.
Right.
Imagine what the customer feels like when they call Majors and David says,
Bring it in.
Why don't you bring it over? We'll take a look at it right now.
Oh, I imagine that is fireworks if you're on the other end of that line of just thinking, hearing so much longer.
If you ever get to Cape Cod, we want to make sure you stop in and see those people because, of course, they got rows and rows of Lippert products, but they back it up and they know how to fix them. But it's fantastic.
There's something.
For the record, I'm no longer at Majors. I retired for the third time.
Right.
And he'll be going back for a fourth time.
Keep going.
Uncle Bernie, Lippert is known for being a great place to work. How does the employees' contentment improve the overall customer satisfaction?
Mm-hmm.
There's a resume type question.
Yeah.
There's no answer to it, but go ahead, Nicole.
I actually love that question because it is something that we talk about internally quite a bit. John DeJulius wrote a book about customer service and experience, and he said, your customer will never be happier than your employee. So that is, again, another focus of Jason, where keeping the eye on the ball, making sure that employee experience is great. Because if they're happy and satisfied, they're going to do a better job. Right? When someone calls in and they're in a crisis or they're worried or concerned or they really need help, if that team member is in a good frame of mind and is happy where they are, they're of course going to do a better job versus just trying to get through the calls, right, and move one to the next. So I think it plays a major role in it.
Well, when I owned my imaging company, I used to tell my employees, if you can't come to work happy, don't come to work because it's going to show with the customers.
Mm-hmm.
You just fix the problem at home or whatever it is and come back happy. Customers, but they can see if they're respected or they're not respected.
Oh, they sure do. They sure do, and they have the choice.
Frank Pelage, I'm a Lippert dealer and have had very good experiences with them. Frank runs one of the cleanest auto body and repair shops in Massachusetts. Spotless, not the typical auto repair shop. You could eat breakfast off the floors of his shop.
Wow.
He understands the customer experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Walter said he reviewed the crosswing fifth-wheeled hitch. Very impressive during the 18 months towing with it, even in some extreme towing situations. Well, like I say, he's a good one to have it. What about is that your background noise, John? I think. Yeah, it is. Okay. What? So you talk a little bit about the getaways. This is one of your posters for them. And is it a typical rally, or what's the different spin that you put to your groups?
Yeah, definitely. So I will say, the first two getaways that we did was along the lines of a more typical rally. We had some service there on site. We brought our entire technical institute and all of their mock-ups and hands-on training aids and gave great seminars to everyone. So they were able to go through some classes. And we did, the standard, evening dinners and great entertainment, right? We did that for the first few years. But this year, as we came into Getaway for our third year, we heard a lot from our guests saying, we want to spend more time together. We want to create more community. So we like the classes, we like the training, right? We like that rally experience, but that's not exactly what we're looking for from Lippert. So this year we're going to take a little bit of a twist here, and we're actually going out to Yellowstone. I think a lot of times for some reason Elkhart County RVs stop existing out west. So we wanted to make sure that we got out there and we had a chance to meet up with all of our West Coast friends. And we're going to take a very kind of low-key, take in the scenery of Yellowstone and spend more time together, building community, and really just spending the time, because that's why most of us RV, right? Is to take that time to sit by a campfire, to share a cocktail or a beverage with someone and just share your war stories. So we're going to take a little turn this year and see how that works for us.
And they're not small gatherings. There's one of them, and there's another one. I mean, you get a lot of people to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, somewhere about 300, 350, depending on the year, is about a typical crowd for us. And honestly, I don't know that I'd want to go a lot bigger than that, because it starts to just be, moving people through the zoo at some point, and that's not why we do this.
Hey, Nicole, what questions might you want to pose to the RVing public? Because we've got a pretty good audience here. Maybe you want to ask them directly a question that you send out surveys and stuff for, but now you're talking directly to them face to face. Anything come to mind?
Yeah, absolutely. We're always looking for where can we be better. So we're saying that not only to the RV owner, we're also saying that to the dealer. Is there something we could do to help you? Is there something we could do better, whether it's internal or right in serving you? Same thing with our OEMs. But ultimately, with their show here of where should we be looking next? Is there something you need us to fix, right? It's really an open question there. And we're always watching for those comments and that feedback, because it's driving the next initiatives that we work for. So sometimes I like to keep that broad versus, really trying to be too specific. And then we miss those bigger opportunities. A lot of times folks want to give us feedback on product, and that's great. We want to hear that. But also, if you have a customer service question, right? Is there something we can do better there for you? Or just, again, any points or things you want to be trained on? How can we make your RVing experience better? That's what we're looking for.
Walt is a
Yeah.
Lippert Scout. The Scout program, now he tests up. Is it geared to you communicating with the Scout and using them kind of to evaluate for feedback? Or is there a responsibility in that program that when they are out in a campground, that people identify them, like whether they have a hat or a shirt? Is there a way to engage the customer? Say, hey, come on over and see this crosswing hitch, or come on over and let me show you my Lippert awnings. How do you integrate that?
Yeah, definitely. So I feel like a lot of that happened naturally because, again, RVers, they want to see what cool upgrades does your neighbor have, or what do I need to put on my Christmas list, or can I show off this great thing that I just purchased or I'm testing? So I got to be honest, they do the hard part for us there, by sharing that information. But what we're asking is, if you're testing something or you're in a campground and you've heard, right, this thing broke, or there would be an opportunity to make an improvement here, that's what we want you to post in Scouts, right? Any of those opportunities, pieces of feedback, experiences you had, that's what we're really looking for in Scouts is, let us know. How did that go? Did you meet a Scout in the wild? Snap a selfie and post it out there and let's see you guys in the campground.
Let's talk about the social media aspect of it. Do you have just one community type Facebook page, or do you have community and Scouts? And where has your customer experience gone to on the social media side of the world?
Yeah, great question. This has been an evolution through time for sure. So we've had multiple iterations of versions of Facebook groups, multiple applications to get into one or another. And what we found at the end of the day is a Lippert Scout is a Lippert Scout, and you're part of the community. So that community, you may choose to join us on our Facebook group. So if you're on Facebook regularly, right, you're probably watching this show on Facebook. you can engage with us there, or you can join us in the app. But at the end of the day, the experiences are going to be the same, and one to the other. The app that we have, so Lippert Scouts exists there, but within the app, you're also going to access more information, more of that inside information, quick links to things. All of our getaway information is in there. Any kind of product testing opportunities, that's where you're going to find those. So if you want to test a Lippert product that has maybe been released or not released yet, a lot of times we're testing unreleased product as well. That's where you're going to find those opportunities, is within our communities app.
Hey, Nicole, it's no question that Lippert has done some groundbreaking things within the industry, like actually a component company talking to the end users, because in many cases in the RV industry, the customer of the component company is the OEM. It's not the end user. So
right.
Whose idea was it to go beyond the manufacturer and talk to the end user?
Well, I'll give you one guess, and if you get it wrong, you're fired.
That
would be you.
That would be Jason.
That would be Jason. So Jason's challenge to me, again, in early 2020, was, he said, don't you think it would be really cool if we could get about 50 RV owners and we could just ask them questions and hear from them and learn from them, and just be able to, have some kind of people in our Rolodex that we could reach out to. And so we thought, yeah, we could do that. We could find 50 folks, right? We're out at the rallies and in campgrounds. We could do that. So we started and we said, want to change the future of RVing? One post on Facebook from our Lippert account and fill out an application here, looking for those 50 people. And we ended up with 3,000 applications in the first very short days. So we knew right at that moment that customers, RV owners, were ready to have a voice that they felt like could get all the way through, right, and make some real differences there in the product that they're purchasing.
I think we hit a slow spot, right?
Yeah. So we knew we can't. There's no backing this train up now, right? The only way is forward, and it has been a wild ride.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think whatever you've done, it's certainly reverberated properly with our audience. If you go to 7:30 and you go to Tony's at right there, and then follow up with the one right after that. Again, Nicole, did you call any of these people today and said, I'm going to be on tonight, and write good things about me?
You know what? Our scouts are an amazing network of communicators. So I didn't have to lift a finger. They knew the assignment.
Okay. Walter, go to Walter right after that.
Lippert flag.
Love it.
And you're right all about the RV toys. And, Walter would keep him talking for the whole day. He'd just hold the fort. With the vast increases of accessories components available from LCI, is there a centralized, categorized training available on the LCI site?
Yes. So this is a great question, Bernie. So one of the things that we heard from scouts, actually, they sort of created a coup at one of our getaways and kind of got together and all said, okay, we're doing a listening session. Jason was there and some of our other executives, and all of the scouts got together. And as we passed the microphone around, them giving their feedback or sharing their comments, they kept saying, we want more training. We want our own school. We want you guys to have scout school. And so that led us to creating better training with our technical institute to really focus more so on that RV owner. So we're hosting not only a one-day class at our technical institute in Mishawaka, Indiana, same place where all dealer technicians are trained, but we also have a 3-day class where you're immersed in how to use, how to maintain, right? How to perhaps install different components for your RV. So that is both on the road and in Mishawaka. But our Tech Institute isn't going to stop there. Now there's actually an online webinar that you can access categories of products that Lippert manufactures, and again, receive that similar training that technicians do as well. So all of that's available online.
You know, when I took over, it was 2013 for NERVDA, we worked very closely with Lippert, and I brought the Lippert's technicians out to do training for our dealer technicians because you hadn't reached the level that you're at now. But when I look at something like the Lippert Owners School, is there room in your infrastructure? Now, if NERVDA wanted to sponsor a Lippert Owners School in New England, is that something that would be flexible enough to do, or that, you know, either the Lippert Owners School or one of those technical type programs, do they all have to be done by Lippert in Lippert, or are you open to
No.
ideas? Because we firmly believe that the education and training is the key to this. The more we know about it.
It is. It absolutely is. That education helps us make those customer service issues, right, or opportunities sometimes vanish, or at least be a little less painful, right? So that's a lot of where in customer experience we're saying, let's get up front in the education. And again, our Tech Institute, we can connect afterwards and get going as far as what could we do in your region to bring this course to the area, right? Because we know not everyone has the opportunity to come to Northern Indiana, especially when we get those, you know, snowflakes flying. RVs don't really like to travel through. So our team does take that on the road throughout the year.
Well, I'd actually like to have some of them at our Boston RV and Camping Show, where we had our good friend Janine Pettit and the girl camper. I know you folks helped sponsor that pavilion, but we were the first ones to have a girl camper pavilion, and we had the Lippert staff, you know, people there with all this stuff. I'd like to take that a step further this year and put in part of our seminar program, maybe one of the school seminars or one of the technical things. But we can talk about that offline. But it's just exciting to see the company take the responsibility that you've taken. And I think the industry overall is recognizing it. I don't think anybody's done it to the level that you're at. Most of these manufacturers now have their apps and their training and what have you. But certainly the leader of the pack. So when you look at where you are now, and it's roughly about 3 years, what's are there things that you can talk about that might be in the future, later this year, early next year, maybe something at Tampa?
Top secret stuff that nobody else knows about.
Right. Just okay. We won't tell anybody, Nicole.
Just among the three of us, right, and all of our viewers, top secret stuff.
Right.
Just right here among all of us, right? Yes. Well, we've got some great stuff cooking. So one thing that I will give you a bit of a preview on is our good friend Courtney Armstrong with the Flipping Nomad. We've got a great project going with her. So go check her out on Instagram, give her a follow to see her story unfolding. But we're working very closely with her, and there's going to be some really fun different pieces and shows that we'll be at together, and really showing you some crazy, innovative, out of this world ways of using some of our product right through the lens of Courtney, who's a brilliant.
She's the right person to do it.
So excited for that coming with her. You know, a lot of our team right now is focused on not only looking in the areas where RVers go, but the RV industry, for some reason, it just doesn't, if it's on a rally, we don't seem to go, right? Or if it's on an RV show. So this week we're at Oshkosh Air Festival.
That's what I was going to ask you.
40,000 RVers there. I mean, wow. Think about, you know, what we could learn and the different things we could do in those kind of environments. So we're really looking for those opportunities as we go forward with our event season. But then really from there, we're starting to focus in on understanding the consumer experience happens at the dealer as well.
Well,
so there's something we can do.
You hooked up with Joel Holland and our friends at Harvest Host for the Oshkosh initiative. In fact, we actually covered that on our other show, the Camper Report show. We put that in our news section this year.
Which will come out Friday.
That again, you know, it'll be posted on Friday. But again, I thought it was brilliant. You're right. 40,000 RVers. NASCAR, we just did a show last week or 2 weeks ago on Campers In involvement in the NASCAR end of it, in the sponsorship. And I used to write for RV News way back when. And at that time, at the height of it, you could always say that at any NASCAR race, there was 10,000 RVs. And there are pockets like that in different equestrian events. Talk to Jeff Hirsch at Campers In. Debbie does, and his daughter does a lot of work with the horses down in Florida there. But equestrian events, big time RV.
Absolutely.
There are so many of them that they just, I don't know if they just think they get there by themselves or not. But Oshkosh, I joked with John when we were doing that the other day, and I said, Oshkosh has got to be on at least every guy, and I know there's a lot of women that fly, but they're bucket list because it's such a unique show.
Mm-hmm. And what we're hearing there is people go to that show because they're looking for a community, right? It's their community of fellow enthusiasts, and that's not different than RVers. So that stretch is not
like-minded
it's
people.
really not that far. Absolutely, they're gathering.
Let me ask you a
Like-minded
question.
people. Tony says Albuquerque. You've got some Albuquerque stuff coming up.
We did in the past. We did in the past. There's a sweet spot of too big.
Yeah.
And that one was a bit overwhelming at the time because there are just so many RVers there, but great experience.
Yep. I mean, no good place. I think we're talking about the Boston show.
Yeah. John and I were talking a couple of weeks ago, somebody that we had on, we were talking about the Escapees doing their 45th anniversary and FMCA doing their 60th anniversary. And I wonder, again, tell us if we're crazy, but I honestly think that we're seeing a reversal of the community environment. Everybody
resurgence.
to go to social media and Facebook, but many are getting very disappointed. There is no personality to it. There is no relationship building to it. And all of a sudden we see more people going to the Escapees, more FMCAs doing a little bit of comeback. I think Good Sam may have killed their chapters a little bit too early, but I just think that we're at an opportune time in the RV industry, especially when you look at it from a customer experience standpoint of bringing these people back into, and I don't like the word rally. I never liked the word rally, but to the get-togethers or to the getaways. Are we off track, or are you seeing some of those same trends in talking to your contacts?
We're absolutely seeing those trends. And there's a few things that are really standing out to us. When we are attending different rallies hosted by various manufacturers or user groups, we're seeing a high volume of first-time attendees. So first time they've shown up to a rally, first time they came to, this particular rally. Those numbers were a bit surprising to us because they were so high. So we felt like that was a really good sign of continuing to show up in those event spaces and make those connections. But even for ourselves as well, we're really hearing through our partners and different folks out in the community, we hear this story often of folks who have this dream of full-time RVing. They get out and they do it and they find themselves very lonely, right? So that a surgence of all those folks out on the road, and they're saying, well, we lost our local community, we lost our neighborhood. And so they're trying to find a way to replace that. And I think that's one of the benefits of Lippert Scouts is that it doesn't matter what make or model or way that you camp, right? I always love Janine's, there's no wrong way to camp like a girl, right? There's an opportunity of all are welcome, and people find some comfort in that. So when they can connect online and in person, that's great.
Let me show one of your other.
When we do something, and we don't just do something small. We tend to go big.
Hey guys, we're Wandering Weekends. We're here at the Lippert Getaway 2021, and I think my favorite part was probably the pasta truck. What about you, Mom?
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, we really have enjoyed the food, the fellowship. We've had a really awesome time.
It's been great.
I'm Randy Epton. This is my wife, Patty. You will see us next year.
Yes, you will. We are having a wonderful time at the Lippert Rally. We'll definitely see you next year.
As word gets out, it's just going to get bigger and better.
See you next year.
Who wouldn't want to go to a Lippert getaway?
That's what I'm saying. There's a few tickets left, so grab them while they're available.
Where is the next one?
So the next one is at Red Rock RV Park in Island Park, Idaho. So we're right outside the Yellowstone entrance. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful country.
Hey, Bob, we got some good comments here. Let's go to
about 8 minutes left. What time?
Yeah, if you go to 7:49.
That one?
Yeah, Walter.
Basic campout that brings community and family together with a small side of learning and listening, and of course, lots of eating. See, Walter doesn't go to that place that doesn't feed him. And Frank Pallant, who was on earlier, he's their head chef. And then he has the nerve to say John's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what he was referring to.
Yeah.
But go to 7:49, Jim Conboy.
A company or a vendor that loses the customer interaction and relationship will fail. Well, many times, Jim, they fail because they never got to appreciating the customer interaction. It was never part of their corporate culture.
Mm-hmm. Or found it a nuisance. We see that time to time.
And Michelle says a lot of RVers rally event.
Hope to find keep community. Yeah, that could be.
On that.
Could be. And then Bernie.
Uncle Bernie sends a tremendous amount of grand design in this video. They are loaded with LCI products. Every OEM is loaded with LCI products. Bernie, you ought to know that. At least 50, I think the current number is at least an average of 55% of the components that go into it that are part of that process. Bob said, tell us if we're crazy. So he's only referring to you. See, I'm not crazy. You are. That's what you didn't have. We got a couple of minutes left, Nicole. What else would you like to tell us about the community or the Scouts or some of the programs that you got?
Sure. Well, we'd love anyone to join that wants to shape the future of RVing. So get in there on Lippert Scouts and share your feedback. Again, we're not looking for everything that's positive. We're looking for those opportunities. It's really a part of our culture. So we say it's okay. You can call the baby ugly. We won't take offense to it. Let us know. But really just follow us along the journey and don't be afraid to speak up wherever there's a chance to have your voice heard.
Can anybody be a scout, or you don't need 12 months, do you? But
no, absolutely not. Anyone can be a scout, whether you're a seasoned camper or you're just starting to see if it's something you want to get into. By all means, everyone's welcome.
Wow. So Jim says he meant he owns a Grand Design, and he meant the Campaholics, Lippert ambassadors, great couple.
Mike and Missy are great.
Yep.
They are. I don't know how they do what they do, but they make it to so many events and have so much energy. They're a great couple.
And Michelle seconds that. They are some of the favorite people. John, any last minute ideas swirling around in your head?
No, but you know what? One of the questions that I had written down prior to going on is, why engage directly with many of your products when they're when so many of your products are unbranded, and I think you answered that pretty clearly. And the other thing I said is, what do you do with the customer data, and why is it important that you respond? I mean, I've asked that question already, but those are the ones that I had prepared.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tell us a little bit about the staff. You mentioned you have 20 people in the center. What do they do to carry out the mission?
Yeah, absolutely. So we really break down into a few categories here. So we've got one group of customer experience that's absolutely focused on events. So they're the ones who are setting up and attending the local rallies, Lippert Getaway, we're going to Tampa, right? The different shows we attend. So they're making sure that in-person experience is absolutely top-notch, really sharing out our message. We've got another group who's absolutely focused on building community. So whether that is through Lippert Scouts, engaging with our brand ambassadors and our partners, and just building out those connections to the end RVers and just making Lippert aware, right? So they know they can reach out to us. But I would say that sort of behind the scenes piece that is one of our biggest focuses and really encompasses everything we do is our insights and intelligence. So, when we see these comments or we get these different opportunities for improvement, or even new product ideas, whether we see that online in our own community or we see that on the comments of YouTube videos, or right there, all of these things out in the internet, we're grabbing those pieces of feedback and we're running that through our system to start to show different trends or give us opportunities to start really digging into areas that we can create some improvement for. So our team is, again, just always scouring to figure out how can we connect with you and how can we hear from you to share that with the rest of our organization.
Fantastic. You know, I
Cool.
did forget one thing at the beginning of the show, John, which is, you know, I don't know how I ever forgot this, but I did have my first baked stuffed lobster today for coming back in Maine. And if you look at the top right of the picture, you'll see my Jack Daniels. So I just want to let you know, I'm back in full speed. Treatments didn't slow me down at all. Jack as well, and the lobster was fantastic. Did you have a can of Chef Boyardee tonight, John?
No, I had I had homemade gnocchi and short ribs and more than I could imagine up in Saratoga, New York. So, you know what? We had a great time. And Nicole, thank you so much for taking time from your busy schedule to be with us. And you know what? I'm sure that in about 3.5 minutes, Jason will have this in his email folder. And you might be called on the carpet tomorrow for not mentioning his name too many times.
Yeah.
Enough times.
And if you like this show, we forget every week because we have so much fun. But if you like it, please share it with your RVing friends and tell them all about Nicole and the Lippert Customer Experience and all the good things that we heard tonight. Thank you very much, Nicole. We appreciate it. You're always welcome back, and we will catch up with you and the rest of our fans somewhere down the road.
Great.
Maybe we'll see you at open house.
Yes, we will see you at open house. And somewhere along here, I have a closing video. Almost lost the train of thought.
This edition of RVing in New England was a presentation of the New England RV Dealers Association. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.